In continuation to my video on when should I retire, let's look at the second part on planning your retirement, which is how much do I need when I retire and am I saving enough to retire as per plan. Firstly, regarding when should I retire, I have added the link to my video at the top of the screen for all those who would want to understand this in more detail. Now coming to the next question, which is how much money do I need on retirement? A lot of people have different views to this question, so it gets quite confusing to arrive at the right figure. The answer varies by individual and it depends largely on your income and the lifestyle you want and can afford in retirement. I have briefly mentioned in my previous video also that retirement planning is knowing what your savings, annuities, pensions and other assets can generate in income and if this income will meet your retirement needs. Apart from this, another question which comes to our mind is, am I saving enough to retire as per plan? The answer to this question is to have a savings plan to arrive at a targeted retirement corpus and to strictly keep investing as per plan. Hi, I am Pratap Nerula, investment consultant and educator, and if you like my video, please put in your likes and subscribe to my channel. Also, ring that bell to get all future notifications from this channel and put in your feedbacks and comments. Further, put in your questions in the comment box and I shall get back to you on the same. Coming back to where we left off, we shall be providing the solution to both these questions with the help of Excel in this video. This provides much better clarity and takes into account all individual specific factors. But before we go to the Excel worksheet, let us look at the following assumptions which I will be using while arriving at the solution. The first assumption is yearly salary appreciation. The annual rate of appraisal is taken at 9.89% based on the data of last 13 years. The second assumption is the average life expectancy. The average life expectancy in India is above 70 years, but we will be assuming an age of 80 years for the purpose of our calculation. The third assumption is the cost of inflation, which is taken at 6% based on the data of the last 2 decades. And finally, the income replacement ratio. Most experts agree that you will need at least 70 to 80% of your last working salary to maintain a quality of life similar to the one you enjoy immediately prior to retirement, and we will be working on the same. Moving further, in this video, we shall be looking at 3 different scenarios where the salary in scenario 1 is 25,000, in scenario 2 is 50,000 and in scenario 3 is 75,000. The assumed age is the same for all 3 scenarios, that is the age of 20. This is the salary at that age. But the planned retirement age in scenario 1 is 60, scenario 2 is 50 and in scenario 3 is 40. Now we shall be moving on to Excel to build these scenarios and to calculate one, the retirement corpus at the time of retirement that we require. Secondly, the savings or the investment plan that we require to reach this retirement corpus. And thirdly, to check whether the retirement corpus that we have built up is enough to survive the post-retirement years where we have taken the life expectancy to be 80 years. So to be able to survive those 20 years post-retirement. So now we move on to the first scenario in Excel where at the age of 20 you are currently earning a salary of 25,000 rupees per month, which when taken annually comes to rupees 3 lakh. So from your age of 21 onwards, when we take an annual appreciation of 9.89% annually, which I have mentioned earlier, so your salary comes to, this comes to 3,29,670. I'll just round off the zeros. Okay, and your percentage of investment out here. Now, like I mentioned before, in the beginning years of your career, you can go up to 60 to 70% of investment of your income, since you do not have any financial liabilities and you are free to invest. So ideally you should be investing that amount, but since here we have a full term of 40 years, the working years that we've selected since the retirement age is 60, so we can start investing with 40%. Okay, then we move on to the investment amount that comes out of the salary by investing 40% of our income, which comes to 1,31,868. Now, the rate of return that we are assuming in the beginning years of our career is at 17%. This is because we are investing mainly in equities, and in equities, the rate of return is much higher than other forms of investment. So 17% rate of return is assumed right now. Okay, and we come to the final value after the rate of return in the first year. So that comes to 1,54,285 rupees. This is because the initial investment of the first year, that is 1.31 lakhs, plus the return of 17% gives you 1.54 lakhs. I will again just round off this section of cells. Yeah. Okay, now we come to when you are 22 years old. So again, your salary jumps by 9.89%. So it comes out to this much. Your rate of return stays the same. The investment and the other factors remain the same. Only one change which we make in the formula is out here in the investment section. That is that apart from the 40% of the income that you invest, you also have to carry forward the investment from the previous year, which is 1.54 lakhs. So that we add in your formula. So at the end of the second year, you are at 3.5 lakhs after the 17% rate of return. So for example, I bring this down till the age of 25. So when you're 25 years old, your total investment should amount to 12.8 lakhs. That is after investing 40% of your income at a return of 17%. So now in the next stage, we shall be looking at a total completion table till the age of 60, where I shall be talking about two major points which we have to take care. That is, one is the percentage of investment as we go along the years, and two, the rate of return that we keep on getting again as we go along the years, because the form of investments keep on changing along with the years. So now we come to the completed table of scenario 1, where the entire table from the age of 21 till the age of 60 has been completed. The main points that we have to note out here are: the starting salary at the age of 20 was 3 lakhs, and the final salary at retirement age was 1.3 crores. The initial starting investment was 40% of your annual income, and your closing investment is 5% of your annual income. The rate of return taken in the beginning was 17%, mainly because of equity investments, and the closing rate of return has been taken at 8% due to much safer investments. Also, regarding the closing value of investments, the investment at the closing of the first year was 1.54 lakhs, and the investment at the end of the 60th year is 16 crores and 98 lakhs. Now, firstly, to explain the difference in the percentage of investment, we had started with the percentage of 40% of our annual income. That was because of the beginning years of our career, where we could take 40% safely. Then, as the years move on and you come to the marriage stage, where you come down to 30%, post that the parenthood stage, where children are young, you come down further to 20% of your income. Finally, the second part of parenthood, where children have grown up, you have to incur costs for their senior education and eventually marriage after that. And finally, the last few years before retirement, where you may want to have some expenses that you had planned for in a long while, which you want to get done. So the percentage of investment reduces from 40% till 5% in the end. Similarly, coming to the rate of return, in the beginning years of your career, you invest largely in equities. Then as the stages go by, when you start with your marriage, then it comes down to slightly more safer investments, giving 15% return. With the start of parenthood, even further investments coming down to 12%, then 10% in the second stage of parenthood, and finally, when you're close to retirement, 8%, because you're going into absolutely complete safe investments. Now, let's check what the retirement corpus should be at the end of 60 years. So for that, the income replacement ratio, which I had mentioned about in the beginning, That is, what percentage of your final pre-retirement income would you require to maintain the same standards of living? So, at the age of 60, when all your major expenses have been accounted for, it is safe to say that 70% would be a fair income replacement ratio. So, 70% of your annual salary at the age of 60 would come out to 91 lakhs and 31,000. Now, this should be the annual salary that you need to generate out of your investments. So, the retirement corpus that you would ideally be looking at is an amount which, when provides 8% returns, should be equal to the targeted retirement income amount, which is 91.3 lakhs. So, for that, ideally, we should be dividing this 91.3 lakhs divided by 8% to get to that exact amount. But here, instead of 8%, we will take 6%, going on a slightly more conservative rate of return, so that that additional 2% can further add to your savings even after utilizing the required income for your monthly or annual expenses. So I changed that to 6%. So now we come to the final retirement corpus amount, which is 15 crore 21 lakhs and 93,000. So if we compare this amount of 15.2 crores versus the final investment amount of 16.98 crores, we find that our investments are more than our required retirement corpus. So we are safe at that end. And now what we have to check is that this amount of 15.2 crores, is it good enough to last us for the balance years post-retirement, that is from the age of 61 till about the age of 80, which we are taking as the average life expectancy. And for that, let's move on to the next table, which checks for this amount. Now, before we proceed to check whether the calculated retirement corpus is enough for the post-retirement period, let us quickly look at the summary of the previous table. So, as per the previous table, these are the following details. The annual salary at retirement is 1.3 crores. The income replacement ratio is taken at 70%, which means that 70% of your annual salary at retirement should be enough for your annual expenses post-retirement. So, accordingly, when calculated at 70%, this is the required annual salary which you require post-retirement. The calculated retirement corpus of 15.2 crores is arrived at by this figure by taking a rate of return of 6% on the total assets. Although the actual rate of return is 8%, but we've taken a slightly conservative rate of return so that the extra 1 or 2% can be added back to the asset value. And finally, the actual asset value as per the investment plan is coming to 16.98 crores, which is more than the calculated retirement corpus. For checking the calculated retirement corpus, we will be taking the same value of 15.2 crores. So let's come back now to the table. Here we have listed down the total age period, that is from 61 till 81. The inflow or the return at 8%, which will be generated from this asset value, is now calculated, which is about 1.2 crores, and the annual expenses of the asset holder is going to be 91.3 lakhs. And I shall be telling you a bit about the others column also, but for now we will ignore that. Now, coming to the closing balance at the end of the first year or the 61st year, I'll just show you the formula, which says that the initial retirement corpus plus the inflow of the returns at 8% minus the annual expenses minus any other expenses, if any. That gives you the closing balance at the end of the first year. Now, moving on to the 62nd year. Firstly, we pull the retirement corpus from the closing balance of the first year. The returns remain the same at 8%. Regarding the annual expenses for the second year, we increase the expenses by 6%, which is the rate of inflation which I have mentioned before, because that will also have to be taken into account in your retirement years. Others, again, I leave it for the same, and with the closing balance formula, we come to 15.79 crores. So this I take down till the year 65. Here I insert a value of 25 lakhs in the others column. This is just to fill in a gap of certain other expenses that arise every once in a while. So I shall keep taking 25 lakhs once in every 5 years, right? So now this set of 5 years we can repeat for the next 10 to 15 years, like till the age of 70. Bring it this, and let's just copy this down now. Now, using this pattern where we account for the annual expenses with an inflation rate of 6% and a fill-in expense of 25 lakhs once in every 5 years, by the end of the 80th year, we are left with a balance of 2 crores 60 lakhs. But what we have to observe here is that as against the closing balance of 2.6 crores, the annual expenses have grown to 2.76 crores, which is more than the closing balance. So if I use the same formula and look at the annual expenses, which would have grown further, we are left with a negative balance. So if you look at the targeted retirement corpus of 15.2 crores, that will easily last us till the age of 80. But if you look at the actual investment value which comes at the time of retirement, which is 6.98 crores, that should last us for a few more years. And accordingly, if you want to make any further changes, increase or decrease your calculated retirement corpus, you can do so accordingly by making changes in the table. It's quite simple once the formulas are put in. Now coming to scenario 2 and 3, I have already prepared the tables so that we don't waste any more time in preparing the tables, as we all know that how the tables are prepared, which I have explained properly in scenario 1. So now I will only go through the main points in scenario 2 and 3. Here the first point to be noted is that we start with an annual salary of 50,000 per month or annual salary of 6 lakhs per year. And here you can see that the percentage of investments does not vary a lot. In the scenario 1 it was 40%, here it's 35. So similarly we come with 25, 10% and 5% henceforth. And what we need to note here is that the income replacement ratio, which we had taken at 70% in scenario 1, comes to 100% in scenario 2. Because we have to note that we are planning to retire 10 years earlier. So you cannot afford to go at 70% because you have a lot more expenses still to be taken care of. That is basically to do with children's senior education and their marriage. So the income requirement stays at 100%, which is exactly the same as your retiring salary. Next we come to the calculated retirement corpus. Here again another change in the formula, where earlier we had assumed a 6% return, we are assuming a 4.5% return, because out of the return of 8% from our investments, we have to save a bit more to survive the extra 10 years. So instead of 6%, I take 4.5%, which gives us an annual requirement of 22.5 crores. And our saving plan has generated 24.13 crores. So that is still fine as per the targeted retirement corpus. Now let's move on to the scenario 2 check, which starts at the age of 51 and goes on till 81. Here the points to be noted are that where in scenario 1 25 lakhs was being withdrawn once in every 5 years. Scenario 2, the first two withdrawals are for 50 lakhs each, because a bit more expenses are still to be taken care of. And the rest all then after the post 60 years period, we come back to 25 lakhs. And this also seems to be fine as it lasts out till the age of 80 years. So the same salary is assumed at 100% of the retiring salary, and then the retiring corpus that we've calculated, the same figure is taken out here, which is 22.57 crores. Right, now moving on to scenario 3, we want to retire at the age of 40, which is quite early. I mean, we hardly want to work in our career. So if you want to retire so early, you need to save a lot more. So if you look at the percentage of investment that we'll have to save right from the beginning, here the annual salary is 9 lakhs, which is 75,000 per month. You need to start saving at a rate of 70%, at least for the first 10 years. Then we come down to 60% for the next 10 years. Here your investments in equity-based savings will need to be much higher for a longer period, that is, because then till the end you would want higher returns, that is if you want to achieve that targeted retirement corpus. Here the final salary at the age of 40 is 59 lakhs, and again you take a 100% income replacement ratio, which comes to the same as your last salary. And another change out here is, while calculating your retirement corpus, instead of 4.5%, here you come down further to 3.5%, because again you have cut down 10 years more of your working period. So you need to really go very safe in calculating your retirement corpus. So this comes to around 17 crores, and your retirement corpus calculated as per your investment savings plan is 17.8 crores, which is fine. So now let's go to the final screen check in scenario 3. Here we look at the salary at the retirement time, which is 59 lakhs. The same has been assumed as your requirement of your annual income post-retirement, that is at the age of 41. And the calculated retirement corpus is 16.95, and the actual investment value as per the investment plan is 17.87. So we start with the retirement corpus of 16.95. And here the point to be noted is that the withdrawals of 50 lakhs are slightly more till the period of the age of 60. So here, once we cross the age of 60, then we get back to the retiring amounts of 25 lakhs. But till then, 50 lakhs have been withdrawn quite more frequently, because a lot more expenses have to be taken care of at the age of 40 onwards. That is the main difference. And here also, till 81, you are in the safe period. From the year 81 onwards, you run into negative. So this was the summary of the 3 different scenarios where you want to retire at 3 different age structures, that is at 60, 50 and 40. The only thing that you have to take care of is that the percentage of retirement in your savings plan can be molded according to your own requirements. This is no hard and fast rule. Everybody has their own plans and their own income times. So you can change that accordingly. What you have to see is that your targeted retirement corpus should be good enough to last you post your retirement till the life expectancy that you are hoping for. So finally, I would like to say that sometimes you will be able to save more for retirement and sometimes less. What's important is to get as close to your savings goal as possible and check your progress at each benchmark to make sure you're staying on track.